Some conversations will be mind-blowing and you'll sit there and you'll have the most profound change.
So for people that don't know you, how, if we're meeting for the first time, which clearly we're not, but if people are listening to you or meeting you for the first time, how do you describe who you are and what you do in this world? How do you walk your path?
Very stubborn, very creative, very strong, have my own independent mind for sure, and love people, love to hear people's stories, love to delve into people's, people, places, and things and concepts. And, I love people. I love to be around people. Maybe that's why I got into media marketing and events, or media marketing and events found me, rather.
Yeah, maybe. I've just pressed a button and you've disappeared from the camera for some reason.
Oh dear.
So I'm just gonna. Okay, I don't know what's happened there. You haven't done anything with your camera, have you?
Oh, no,
Okay.
So maybe it's the internet.
So normally I would have it in one view and not the other. Okay, it seems we're going to stay like that. So anyone that was just listening to that, sorry about that. For some reason, and you've frozen, you see. So maybe it is the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Okay.
Wi-Fi, internet issues.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do a quick restart from this point. So, and what I'll leave. I will leave the camera like this. So, hey, Nat, welcome to 52 Conversations. For people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I think I'm just elemental. I love people. I love places. I love to go places. I'm very curious, very stubborn, especially when I think I'm right, which is not cool sometimes. I have a lot of patience, but don't let me cross that red line. The Trinity temper in me comes out. Go ballistic, no turning back. But yeah, I think first and foremost, very creative, love people, love creativity, love art. Just like to delve into things that are life. I love life. Definitely.
Well, do you know what? Given that we're here to live the best life that we possibly can, then I think having a statement like "I love life" is a brilliant place to kind of start. Yeah, I also want to backtrack straight away to you said the words Trini temper. So are Trinidadians known for
that? Yes. So it's complicated. My father was born in Barbados.
Okay.
My mom is from Tobago. They met in Tobago. He's a Methodist minister, rest in peace. My mom, now 92, she's a preschool teacher, right? Okay. So they met, they had 3 children. The first 2 were born in St. Vincent, where he was posted first. And then he was posted in Trinidad, and that's where I was born. So then it's a funny thing because our upbringing as people whose parents travel a lot. At 4.5, I went to West Africa. So my definitive upbringing, which is probably why I like all this kind of vibrant color and African, businesses, is West Africa, the Gambia. Left there at 11, went to Nassau, Bahamas. So high school would have been in Nassau, Bahamas. QC, shout out to my classmates who I still actually keep in touch with. And they're all over the place, just like me. And then UK comes into it because class of 77, graduation, straight to England. Royal Tunbridge Wells first, then Brighton School of Art, then Wolverhampton School of Art, which was a polytechnic then, but it's now part of the university. And so, as you can see, very eclectic.
I was going to say, you just took that word right out of my head. Really super eclectic. I'm really drawn to go back to those years in the Gambia though, and I guess a strong sense a strong sense of ancestry from there, do you think?
Totally a strong sense of ancestry. I mean, my father and I fought after that because, of course, the Christianity went out the window because now I'm questioning everything. You've brought me to a place which is so deeply spiritual and everything around you. And I'm a spiritual person naturally. So the energy around me was so powerful. It was just magical. And so I started questioning, so why is this? What is that? Why is the Bible like? The Bible is not about Africa. The Bible is about the Jews. So what is this? You know, and so eventually he used to introduce the three of us as, oh, well, I have two Christians children, and then this is my carnival baby.
I love
he didn't know what to do with me.
I love that though, and it's evoking this picture in my mind though. How did he cope with you asking those kinds of questions, questioning his faith?
Well, he actually he coped very well. My mom didn't cope so much because my mom is like my sister, very clear on what they are. They're Christians, okay? But my dad always said to me, you have to choose. Everything in life is a choice, Natalie. Everything in life is a choice. Choices have consequences. You have to own your choices. But always remember that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. In other words, you meet the same people going up as you meet coming down. So understand what it is that you want to do in life. And that's my mantra for the whole of my life.
Cool.
I don't like to get into religious conversations with people because like politics and like sex, it always ends in like, let's agree to disagree storyline. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so different. And I don't understand why humans just can't accept that we are unique, originals. You have your say, I have mine.
Absolutely. It's being able to, I mean, agree to disagree, and still be okay with that. And I think that's a massive thing that's certainly coming out even more now. People just seem to really struggle with being able to have a disagreement and not it becoming a war, a fight.
Bitter and twisted. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Bitter.
Yeah. You know,
and I have to say, online platforms are not helping, Jan.
No.
They're not helping, to me, in my opinion, because there is so much chatter and so much babble and so much chaos in all the conversations that people are not taking the time to take, okay, you had your say, now I'm going to go in my corner and I'm going to do some introspection and some research for my own self. I'm going to do some reading, go to Google University if you have to, and just, kind of figure it out a little bit. It's just like, I said it and that's it. And that's what it is. And whatever. And I'm going to Alt-delete. How can we have a conversation like that?
No, people have become so opinionated, haven't they? And social media.
Well, I'm telling you.
Yeah, social media allows people to take like that.
Yeah, they're holding their line. Yeah. But I haven't always been in this place, I've been one of those very opinionated people.
So
yes. So age, experience, maturity. Because I was very hot-headed, and if you told me I couldn't do something, that's exactly what I was going to do. You throw down that gauntlet in front of me, I'm going, oh really, it's like that? Yes, so I was the child that got into lots of trouble, and in the Caribbean got lots of licks for wandering off. This is a classic, Natalie. At 8 in the Gambia, I see the Moors coming down the road, the Moroccan people, and they wear all these beautiful indigo, and all you can see is the eyes, and the women have the beautiful henna on their hands and so on. And I heard the tinkle of the goat bells coming down the main street in Bathurst. And I just got up and walked downstairs and followed these people, follow them wherever they're going. And I ended up sitting down with the women, and I'm drinking their tea out their hookah, and I can't understand a word they're saying, but it was so fascinating to me, the colors, the texture of their clothing, the smells, the food, the goat cheese, and everything. Well, I got licks from my mother, right? Because who 8-year-old wandering off with a bunch of foreign people coming down the road? The next adventure was going to the movies by myself. Right? And in Africa again, I wasn't supposed to be there again. 9, I think I was, somewhere around there. Slipping through, never paid for it. Slipped in through, went in the back, watched this Viking movie, all blood and guts and gore. But the thing that stayed with me was, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, it's all right. Da, 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 da. That song stuck in my head for the rest of my life. And every time I hear that song, Janice, I want to cry. Yeah. Because it was so sad. The movie was so sad to me. But, things like that. I've been doing that all my life.
I was
wandering off some track.
Yeah, but look at the richness, though. I mean, and for people listening, I'm sure they were like me then. You were just painting these pictures in our minds with your words and your creative, evocative words and language. That was creating such a great picture. I'm like, I'd want to do that when I was 8 as well. I'd want to follow those people. I mean, that's just super cool.
You wouldn't want to get the licks, though.
No, I don't want the licks. I have to say that for sure.
But that's all part of our Caribbean upbringing back in the day. It's changed drastically now, of course, because we, the next generation, decided, no, we're not doing that to our kids, Yeah. And just the other day, maybe about a decade ago, I said to my mom, Mama, if I was born now, I could call child services for you, and we had a big laugh about it and so on. And she said, when you call child services for me, and I just still would have gotten licks. Because guess what? You're not in England. You're not in the States.
That's right.
So yeah. we had a big laugh, right? Yeah. But my upbringing was very interesting because even though my parents were from the Caribbean, it's only the other day, Janice, that I realized, they had a plan that their children would have this wide open, curious mind. Because who takes 3 young children to Africa, 4, 6, and 10? And just decide, okay, let's go. We're going to Africa. That's it. But then when I look...
Sorry, was that your dad's decision or was that a joint decision?
That was both of them because, trust me, my mom is very creative and very stubborn too. Okay. So my mom, I call her my Mother Earth, and my dad, I call him my wide open sky, the adventurer. So between those two things, we all got a bit of the touch in us, all 3 of us, right? So going to Africa for them was a statement back in the day, because that would have been in the 60s, the early 70s, right? Because I was born in 61, so in 1964, that's when we went, and we never came back from there until 1971, all right? So in between all of this, I'm still hearing the conversation from them of the Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and taking us to see Miriam Makeba live in concert in the Gambia, and remembering this powerful woman talking about apartheid and Black power and so on. So the shaping of us as young Black people, I have to put it that way, was very much there, even though all my friends in UK are actually English. Now, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Because Dad met an interesting architect in the Gambia who became my legal guardian, you would say, when I went to school in England. Okay. All right? Okay. Because they didn't want me to go to England and not have some protection, some cover. This is the thing with my parents, they're all very protective. Sometimes bad and sometimes good, because when I look at it, I think, I didn't have one piece of street smart. Nah. When I graduated from University at 23, I was green like a gunga eel. I didn't know my head from a foot because I was always protected, always in some space of protection. You know, so the sharks were just waiting for me out there. You know, I lived in Wilmington by the Long Man. I was always in the country, a country girl. That's why I love your photos, because I miss walking those country lanes and going up those hills. That for me is UK for me, because I was never in London, or if I was in Wolverhampton, I was still in a suburb. I wasn't, you know, in the actual inner city. If I went to Birmingham, I wasn't in the city. So I'm a country girl when it comes to England. I mean, Royal Tunbridge Wells was apple trees, apple orchards and fruit orchards, you know. Brighton was just eclectic, like me. Art school.
I was going to say, I can imagine in Brighton, you must have felt like you were in heaven, because such a rich...
Oh my goodness, Brighton was just amazing, Jan. I met my girlfriend, Pauline Lou, who is now Pauline Lou Evil. She now lives in New Zealand, and her husband run a vineyard.
Wow.
But Pauline, I met this girl, Pauline, in Brighton. And our meeting was, I'm walking up these stairs, you know, in the Brighton. And this body just comes flat on the floor. A guy killed himself on the first day we were in art school.
Oh God.
And I looked down at him, and he was the most beautiful looking soul. I have brilliant blue eyes, beautiful looking man. I'm thinking, now, why would you want to kill yourself? Pauline and I, we looked at each other, and then we went to class. We didn't really know each other, but we hooked up there, right? Yeah. In my mind, I said that was not going to be me.
Yeah.
Art school was not going to break me. Right? Because I had begged my parents so much to go to art school in the first place. First, I wanted to be an air hostess. My dad said, you want to be a glorified maid then?
Yeah.
Then I wanted to be a fine artist. He said, you want to be poor for the rest of your life? Then I wanted to do dance and be a star. I wanted to be a star. And he said, girl, just keep your feet on the ground and do something. Said, I'm not paying for any of the above. You're not studying any of the above because I'm not paying for it. So I told my mom, if you can convince my dad to pay for 1 year of art school, I'm going to get a scholarship. And that's exactly what I did. He paid for 1 year of art school, and I got a scholarship from a German, actually, institution, right?
Cool.
And the rest is history. That's what I did, graphic design and marketing. And I played for the first, I must have played until I finally realized that, oh gosh, if I fail this degree, I let down myself and my parents.
Yeah.
So I played, I did photography, I lined, I partied, I did all kinds of craziness in the first 3 years. And then the last 2 years, I said, yes, time to get serious, and still graduated with my honors degree, yes.
Well done you. So a real mix of influences that took you to that space in the UK.
Very much so.
And so when you finished that, did you have a plan then? Was there a plan, or was there no plan?
I wanted to come back to the West Indies. I wanted to come back to the Caribbean, this place that I'd never actually grown up in, which was quite funny, actually. How that happened was, the year I graduated in 1983, the wonderful Iron Lady had decided, because I already had a placement at a workplace, to go straight to a workplace, which was actually in London. But the Iron Lady decided that all you should have the jobs, not us.
Yeah.
I was a foreigner,
Absolutely.
right? So if anyone who was British, born, bred, could do the same work as you, well, the job would go to the British person, which I understood. And so 6 months later, I decided, okay, I need to go back to my region and make my contribution.
Yeah.
So I kind of came back here because my parents were here.
In Antigua.
Right? At the time, in Antigua at the time. Because my father became the president of the Methodist Church in the Caribbean, America. So he kind of got to the top of his profession. He and my mom helped to, I wouldn't say open, but nurture the Salutha Winter Preschool through Aunt Idris, I call her, God rest her soul now, Dr. Idris Bird and Dr. Shoba. So hence I came back here to see what could happen here, right? And of course, as they say, I got captured.
Yeah, Antigua does that, right?
I got captured in more ways than one because the father of my children is from right here. There used to be a beautiful little restaurant at the top of Long Street where Social Security is now. That was Conroy Alfred White Jr.'s property. And it, again, you see my curiosity killed the cat, right? There was this beautiful lattice white fence and this cute little black and white sign that was so abstract amongst all this other stuff going on. I thought, that must be an interesting person who opened that restaurant there. And had these beautiful red flowers poking out from hibiscus, poking out. I thought, and the red gate. And I said, yes, I'm going to go in there and find out what it is. But I never did. How I actually got there was I ended up working with his, I would say, the wife of his dad.
Right.
And so she took me to dinner, to lunch there one day, and I got captured.
So is that where you met your...
That's precisely where we met, right? In that shabby chic restaurant environment.
There you go. Well, but hey, that's a cool story though. So before your heart was captured, did Antigua already have, what was it about Antigua that kind of resonated with
that I loved?
You? Yeah. What
I used to come here on holidays, summer holidays, because couldn't afford to come any other time. So once a year you come for summer, it's the longest holiday. I used to walk from Scotts Hill, and I was always fat. I have to put it that way, because I love my stomach. I love my food. And on the way to Wolverhampton University was this amazing pastry shop, and you know English pastry. Oh my Lord. And every day I'm buying a pastry. So it's either strawberries and cream, or it's something I'm buying from that place. So every year when I came home in the summer, my mom would say, you need to exercise. And I would say, well, I want to go to the beach. She used to say, nowhere's far in Antigua. So if you want to go to the beach, put your stuff in your rucksack. Here's the bottle of water. Here's a sandwich and 2 pieces of pineapple. Go ahead about your business. So I used to walk from Scotts Hill to Halcyon, where Shorty's Beach Bar was.
Right.
And by the end of the summer, I was fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's...
Yes, but I loved Antigua for its clear air. There's an air here that when you come over in the plane and you see the beautiful islands and that crystal clear water, and you come into the island, there's just, Antigua's a special paradise place. It's changed a lot from 1979 to now. Good, bad, and indifferent, I have to say, like everywhere else in the world. But I think there's still 75% more good than anything else. Because if I had to choose to live anywhere else in the world, I would come right back here. I can leave my doors and windows open. I can go down the road with my dog. I can go to the market, it's just there. I can get beautiful, fresh food. I can go and swim in clear water. There's no sharks going to eat me.
No.
Who doesn't want to live in that? Absolutely. You know, people still say good morning and good afternoon and good evening, even though we cuss each other off too, but we're still social like that. That doesn't happen. The last time I came to UK, I wanted to come back home quick because, you get used to saying good morning. So I'm on the train and I'm saying, good morning. morning, you know, I'm bright and sunny and people are pulling up their newspapers and wondering, who's this crazy person?
It's exactly that though. And I always talk about that when I'm back here, the fact that, so in my bank in Antigua, when they were all open pre-COVID, I could go into any one of those banks and it'd be, hey Janice, hey Miss Howe, how are you? And I'm like, that's kind of priceless. And this good morning and this
totally is
the simplicity of those connections where you do say good morning, you do say good afternoon, and it's not like what I call the American where it's contrived. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Get up and stop. It's natural. And there's something beautiful about that, isn't there? That is really,
there really is.
Places.
And I wouldn't have raised my children anywhere else in the world. I wouldn't. Because here we have excellent schools, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah.
We have an excellent education system that my children were privileged to be in and graduated out of. I see the forward thinking of them when I hear from people, when I'm not around, when I'm not on the island and somebody WhatsApps me and say, oh, I just saw your son the other day. He's such a personable gentleman, young man, and so on. And I smile, right? Because that I couldn't do that on my own. Here, what I love about the Caribbean or the West Indies, if you want to call it that, is that it really is a community. It takes a community to raise a child here. And I hope that we never lose that. I see us losing it a little bit, and I get a little concerned because parents alone can't do it. You need that circle of trust, if you want to call it that. And then you need the community and the wider community. You need the network.
It's the elders, it's the youngers, it's all of the generations, isn't it, coming together as a collective and really having that community sort of spirit.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
I know that worked for me, Janice, because everywhere I go, I know the goodwill of my parents is what I stand upon. My ancestors are really what I stand upon because of the people that my parents were. I mean, I spent most of my working life here, but even here, everywhere I went, I can't say that people handed me a job because of it, but people would always look at me and say, oh, you're Reverend Clarke's daughter. Oh, you're Mrs. Clarke's daughter. And I know what's coming next, right? Yeah, they were really nice people and they have a whole conversation about them, right? And interestingly enough, when I did my major faux pas was packing up everything. And my children had graduated then from high school. Mm-hmm. I met someone I thought I was in love with. I thought he was in love with me. I packed up my Georgie bungle. You see how the curiosity killed the cat coming again? Yeah. Sold all my belongings, shifted my children down here into their grandfather and father's property and went off to seek my fortune and love affair of my lifetime, you know? And that busted wide open in like 6 months. So here I was in England. But again, I was in England. But again, you see how the parent network works? I made one phone call to who would have been my guardians back in the day.
Yes.
Natalie, that's it. Come home. Get on the train. I'll pick you up in the morning. End of conversation. I hung out with them for 6 months. I shoveled dirt. I gardened with my stepmommy, I call her. I walked with my stepdad. I cried my tears. Their daughter is named after me, Natalie, their eldest daughter.
That's
we
awesome.
Walked the hills, and at the end of the 6 months, I said, I can't stay here. No. This place too cold, too gray, too depressing. What am I doing in this place? And now it doesn't have a good memory, right? So send my CV out across the whole Caribbean, Janice. Send my CV out now. I'm saying wherever it hit, that's where I'm going. Whether it's Jamaica and Bahamas in the north, right down to Suriname in the south. Wherever it hit, I'm going to be there. right? Because I didn't want to come back to Antigua at that point, because, you're shame.
Yeah.
I made this major big move.
Yeah,
and then it just busts, the balloon busts in the face. So I said to my stepmom, okay, I got a response. It's from the Commonwealth of Dominica. I've never been there. I said, you know what? Okay, we're going to set it up. So we set up in the office, put on my clothes and everything, set up, look like I'm actually doing something when I was doing jack all, really. And I said to my stepmom, if I can hold those people for 15 minutes, that's my job.
Cool.
We spoke for an hour. And I cut them. I said, well, very nice talking to you. And boy, when I came off, I was on the cloud. I said, that's my job. I'm going to the Commonwealth of Dominica. The woman looked at me and said, what do you know about Dominica? I said, it doesn't matter. I will find out. Google University to the world. And I had a couple friends over there as well, so I was able to interact. But when I went to Dominica, that's where I did Dominica Festivals Commission Director. With the government of Dominica. I stayed there for 4 years, and it was the best time of my life. That's where my painting comes from. That's an original painting. Every year I was there, yes, I bought an original work of art because I love art. I just save up my money, save up my money so I can buy somebody's art, because I think that's important. Plug for the artists out there. Go out and buy Antigua Barbuta's original artwork. There's so many artists in this country, arts and craft and so on. But people always go, but I can't, what, $5,000 ton? I'm not spending that much. I said, but somebody took the time to create this amazing piece of art. And if it speaks to you, if it's magical in your gut, save up and buy it. It's worth it, because every time you pass it, it gives you that energy feeling. But anyway, I digress. So Dominica was interesting. Dominica because Dominica is the opposite to here. Dominica, when you go over Dominica is just like the Creole women with the big frothy, lacy, white underskirts and the madras. And it's dark and it's mystical. And it has this African energy that just hits you when you get off and you walk in it. There's mist rolling down in the mornings at 5 a.m. and you're driving, you think, wait, I'm in England, man. What happened? Fog over here? It's like, and the parrots, green parrots coming across every morning, like clockwork at 9 o'clock. I spent 3 months in Bourne. And every morning, Janice, at 9 o'clock, here come the parrots in the trees. And I thought, this is an amazing place. I love this place. It's so clearly a Caribbean person. All right. Yeah. Before that, because I could talk about creativity all my life, but just to lay work experience, came here, started with Mrs. White, and it was called NCAP, Environmental Conservation Awareness Program, right? Which I did for just maybe 2 years, doing illustration, taking photographs. That's how I got to Bitter End Virgin Gorda, and I loved it. And I digress again. I don't know why we can't do that here. We need to take more care of our mangroves in this place. The appeal is every year. I hear tourism and environment talking about it. Why, oh, why can't we keep it clean, pick up your garbage and all that stuff? Because down there is pristine. If you ever get to go down there, go down there. Yeah. Virgin Gorda, Bitter End, it is an amazing place.
BVI's, I think I've been 4 or 5 times, and Virgin Gorda is like.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The place is just amazing. We can do this up here as well. I mean, we have a lot of places that look like that, but we could do better. But as I digress. And then I went from there to, once I met my ex-husband, it was in the restaurant. I had my babies. I was privileged to be a home mom. So I was very much a home mom, jump in the car with my boys, still adventurous. We used to pack our pineapple and our water and go around by Old Road and park up the car and go hiking around to Rendezvous Bay. My most favorite place in the whole wide world, there, and Half Moon Bay. Hung out a lot at Half Moon Bay with a lot of my friends who I still have today. Mike and Imogen, see the Potteries, Bradley Brown, Kim Derrick. There's a lot of them that are still in my headspace. We did a lot of fun things together. So my children had a fun upbringing in Antigua. And then, of course, you know, now I look back, I think I'm not tailored for marriage. I'm too own way and I'm too independent. So at some point in time, I'm going to clash. Yeah, I think I'm a loner by just my spirit. So there was all that upheaval. And looking back, I see the fallout of it with the way that my children present sometimes. But that's you're your psychologist, you know the nature of divorce and the messiness of it and how it impacts on the children, right? So that's a whole conversation by itself. But thankfully, I also see them turning the corner one by one. The middle one was the first one. The eldest was the second. I'm just waiting for the third to turn his corner. And that was one of the reasons why I came back as well, because I was in Dominique and I was quite happy to stay there, but I saw something and I felt something, right? And, you know, you get kind of subliminal messages from your friends, your real friends. Yeah. And you think, no, I need to go back. And it's something I want to say to us in the Caribbean. Yeah. Boys need support too.
Absolutely.
It's not just a girl thing. Boys need a support too. And just because they're 18 or 21 doesn't mean you're supposed to just drop them over the side of the cliff and go sink or swim. It doesn't work like that. You have to be there. You have to guide, coach, counsel continually for the rest of your life as a parent, even with the young men in your life.
Absolutely. Can I just ask you something? Is there something playing in the background on your computer or something? There sounds like there's...
It's that stupid thing that comes up and tells you what the news is, and I don't know why I can't find the button to get it off.
Okay, no worries.
Did you hear it? Was it loud?
Yeah, and I can just hear it. It sounds like I can hear a conversation running in the background. That's all. So, and I don't.
Yeah, it's very annoying.
I want people to focus on what you're saying, because I think you just hit on something that's actually really important. It's the mental health of our guys as much as our girls, right? It's really, really important.
Very, 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 very important. And I recognize that immediately because, as I said to you before, I don't know whether I was supposed to be a OCD or a manic depressive or what is the other word you all call it? Attention deficit disorder, or all these things, that these labels. But I definitely know that my emotions are like a roller coaster. I can get very high and very happy and very crazy, and then I can just crash into some serious darkness. But for me, I've always used my creativity to get me out of that. So if you notice on my page, I love music. So anytime I feel myself going there, I just go into my world of music and I just saturate myself with as much amazing sound, and I'm out of there.
It's really interesting, because I was going to ask you that, because I think the thing is, if we understand our emotional states and the way that we have our ups and downs, we're intuitive enough and we're aware enough, then we can help ourselves from falling too hard, right? We can capture ourselves where we need to be caught. And I think that actually you know, for all the educational things that the world is teaching our kids at schools, and I'm not necessarily a big voter on the regular school systems, you know, if we teach them emotional intelligence, if we teach them to understand the power of their feelings and that it's okay to feel, yet equally what we can do with those feelings, right? We can surely build a better space.
Absolutely. I think that's the part that's missing for us, really, in my opinion, as humans, as the human species. Never mind all the trappings that go around it of religion and economics and where you were born and the caste system that you were born into and all these wonderful things that humans have put in place.
Yeah.
I think we need to teach our youths emotional maturity, how to really handle challenges, how to handle stress. I don't think we're doing a good job at that, because all we're teaching right now is the brand. It's all about the brand. And if you don't, you understand, Janice? And if you're not the correct brand, then you're nothing. And how is that possible? Because first of all, we're originals. We come into this space as an original brand in itself. We are unique human beings. So therefore, if your parents did not teach you that you are a unique brand in your own right, your personality, your unique skill set, your weaknesses, your strengths, all those good stuff, then somebody else outside of that has to nurture that in you. I think if we could kind of drag the Montessori kindergarten system into an adult form somewhere in high school, we'd be all right, because we would be able to teach youths that, yes, you can be your own person, you can be powerful, you're your own brand and everything, but you have to network with other brands, and you have to find that space where my weakness is your strength is my weakness, and then we have that team groove going on, and then we, you know, when we're rolling. But the way we're set up in the world now, that's not happening, because we got white supremacy on one side. Then we have the ones on the other side, Pan-Africanism, which is another extreme because of white supremacy. Then we have the Asiatic front with the Islamic business, the Boko Haram, we have the ISIS. And I mean, we're so lost in all kinds of isms and schisms that we forget that we are simply first human.
Absolutely. I think, you know, you've just kind of really nailed it there, and we have to seek. And I think I recorded a conversation with a friend who does the same kind of business as me the other day, and we got into this subject of, now that the world is kind of coming back or moving forward to getting back to a way of being, i.e. going back out into businesses, you know, shops are opening up, countries are opening up, all of this kind of thing. And there's this mix now of people. There's some people that are really keen to get back, yet even in their keenness, they feel uncomfortable because they're not used to being with all these people, etc. But one of the things that we decided was that, wouldn't it be cool if for every single person to share their experience of the gifts that the COVID year or whatever has given them. And I think a lot of those gifts are actually things that we can use to help humankind, because a whole bunch of people have raised their consciousness, they've raised their vibration. But what we're hearing in the mainstream still, even with the going back into the world, is about our differences. We're hearing about our separation. And actually, I'm like, no, but what about our connections? What about the things that we've learned about ourselves? If I shared my story with you, and my daughter shared her story with someone else, and we would actually see we're far more similar than we are different. It's just that, you know, the mainstream is all about our differences, exactly as you said, the separation.
Because the mainstream is all about the brand. That's the economic model. That's the economic model that we're following right now. And if you don't fit into what the first world, I have to say, has shaped and crafted for us, then you are considered a nothing. you know, and everybody's striving to get to this higher height. But then, as one of my sons said to me the other day, there are only a few that actually reach that ultimate point in their existence. I mean, how many Jay-Z's are in the world? How many Beyoncé's are in the world? How many Kanye Wests are in the world? I mean, how many? And then the whole thing hinges Oprah Winfrey and, you know, Denzel Washington. Yes, everybody might have gone through some real terrible stuff in their life, but then they were also poised in a position where they could do that pivot out of it. Because if Oprah was in Antigua, would she be able to do what she has been able to achieve? So it's so many things are impacting on who the family you were born into, where you were born, the system of politics and religion and societal norms and mores that you were born into. You know, there's so much going on that how many people actually reach that level where, you know, and I don't like it when people say, oh, you're just lazy, that's all. You're just lazy. You need to snap out a bit. Or because there are too many other impacting things that are colliding at the same time, you know, that also help to push that person. And then most of the time, to me, I don't know if it's true, you have to be very selfish. You have to get very selfish and very self-centered if you really want to make it in the world that we have created. You have to have one focus, and it doesn't matter who you step on, who you push aside, who you hurt, if you want to make that ultimate sacrifice to get to that specific point where you know you're a billionaire or a multimillionaire, and then all of a sudden you're turning around and you're trying to be benevolent.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of like a catch-22 thing for me.
It is, isn't it? It's really interesting. So whilst you were talking there, do you think it's easier for people to be more individualistic in somewhere like Antigua than the UK or America or Canada?
No. I'm one of those cynical ones. I don't think humans have freedom.
Do you not?
It's a very controversial thing to say, but I really don't think humans have freedom. They think they have freedom, but I don't think we have freedom. We're just like all the other animal species in the world. We're locked into a system of which most times we have created that system. We've been through so many systems, Janice, from Romans, Greeks, from the Dagons in Africa, from all the ancestral caveats that we have created and crafted, you know, and we just bounce around from one thing to the next, thinking that, okay, this is the next best thing. Let's try this. Okay. Socialism didn't work. Communism not really working. Even the communists are changing. I mean, look at the Asiatic front. They have inculcated so many economic capitalistic ideas into their communism. It's not even funny, and people not even paying attention to that. And yet here we are in the West. You check, and here in the West, they're arguing about whether we should take vaccine, whether we shouldn't take vaccine, because we have so much freedom and this and that and the other. But there is no such thing as freedom. Think about it. Your right to freedom impacts on my right to freedom, which impacts on the other person's right to freedom. So how much freedom really is in the human species world if we don't look at it emotionally mature, like a mature emotional person? And that's another conversation, because I think we're so intelligent in so many other ways. We have all these scientific advances, and we've gone to the moon and back, and we've gone down how many leagues under the sea in these beautiful lungs, and we've mapped out all these amazing things, and we have this internet that's taking us around the world in 5 seconds and all this, and yet we're so emotionally immature. Come on, we have to catch up with our logic and intelligence. Our emotional maturity has not caught up with our logics, to me. That's my opinion.
It's an interesting way. It's an interesting way to look at it, though, right? And feel. So, what do you do to create a sense of freedom for yourself?
I stay away from people when I have to. Being in the media, you know, as a media person, as an event management person, as a marketing person, you're always with people, always with people. And so when I come away from that, I'm a very singular person. Even in my house, my children would tell you, I go in my garden, I have my books, the art, the music, and I'm just very singular and very selfish with my me time. Because to me, you have to be. You can't just always be out there running with the pack. Because what happens is you latch on to a tribe, and the next thing you're doing what the tribe is doing, and the next thing you wait, that's not right. That doesn't make absolutely, but you're already caught up in the tribe. Yeah. And for me, that is very dangerous. When you get caught up in a tribe, and everybody wants to belong to a tribe these days, or a clique, you know, or a network, and then you're a yes person, and then, you know, I mean, no. I get challenged for it, by the way, because I challenge people on it. I challenge managers, I challenge directors, I challenge people higher up than me. And they don't like that most of the time.
No, they don't want you to be quiet, and they want you to follow their.
Well, exactly. And then that is when you start taking away my freedom, and I'm not having it. Just not having it.
This is your identity, and this is your one walk on earth in this guise, right? So
exactly.
You have to do it the best. So I'm aware that we've almost been speaking an hour already, but I just want to talk to you or ask you a few questions.
I'm wondering.
I've been following your journey with food.
Yes.
We've had the not eating meat, and now are we still in the raw state? Are we in the raw food?
The raw lasted 2 days, Janice.
Okay.
And I had a steak yesterday.
Okay.
Okay? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the raw was exceptionally challenging for me, but I think it's because I'm not used to it. I love lots of raw vegetables. I love my salads and I love my fruit and so on, but I've never actually gone down the road where, okay, I'm going to do raw forever and ever. Amen. That would be so boring to me. I mean, look at me. I'm the most colorful person in the world. Unless raw can actually hit me in the center of my pleasure brain cell, center. It's not going to happen. I will put, what I've done though is my plates have become smaller. So instead of the big dinner plate, I've decided I'm going to eat small side plates of food, of which half of that have to be raw. It has to be raw. Cool. So, and I was never really a starch person in the first place, and my meat has to fit into my hand. Cool. Right? So, and I can do without meat for the week, but I try and eat some meat on the weekends. But what I find though is that, hold on a second, Remy! You're making too much noise. I can hear you. Hold on 1 second. We all cook in this family. Okay. So Remy, so obviously the eldest is creating some wonderful thing, right? So so I can hear it. So I try to cut down more and more on the starches. I can't say that I'm going to give up butter or milk, because that's a UK love affair that will never fail. I loved having the 6-pack come to the door in the mornings. I could hear the milkman coming down the road back in the day when I was young. Do they still do that?
They do. In some of the places they do it. It's kind of an expensive.
Oh my God, I love that, Jan. And then all the cream is sitting on the top of the bottles.
I'm not into milk. I'm definitely not a milk.
Oh my God, I love my milk and my butter and my cheese.
Oh gosh. It's interesting though, because I was wondering, your changes around food, is that to change your mind, your body shape, your health?
Yes.
What's your reasons?
What I found was since 50, I noticed my body starting to change. Bowel habits, how I feel, joints hurting. And I'm like, no. Something is going on differently there here, Natalie. Can't be eating all this rich food with cream and all this stuff in it. So I said to myself, no. And my body, which I listened to very keenly, told me that. So one day I tried to eat eggs and I just felt sick. I said, okay, well, that is the end of my egg journey. Thank you very much. It was wild while it was happening, but it's time for eggs to take a back row. So I'm just waiting to see when milk is going to do the same. I used to drink about 8 cups of coffee a day when I was in university. I now drink 2. I used to drink half of it was milk. Now very little of it is milk. I used to put like 3 teaspoons of sugar in my tea and my coffee. It's now down to 1 teaspoon. And even that, I'm like, no, this thing is too sweet, man. Come on. So my body, my inner spirit is telling me what to do and I'm listening to it.
Yeah. I think,
right?
I think that's something that intuitively we owe it to ourselves the older we get, to actually listen to our bodies, because they're talking to us all the time. And if
Absolutely.
we want to live in our bodies, which we do until we're here or not here, then we have to pay attention, don't we? So it's really interesting.
You have to pay attention. I've been paying attention. The pandemic kind of crashed my style a little bit. I love to go to the beach. So I have to get myself back up to the beach now and go walking on the beach and swimming because I love the water. I swear I was either a turtle or a whale in my past life.
Yeah, that's fine. Get back in the water.
I know the Christians would say that's scandalous, but no, seriously. When I go into the water, I'm in my element. I feel the happiest, the most blessed, the most comfortable especially diving under the water. It's just an amazing feeling. So it's going to be back there. It's going to be back there. I believe if I could breathe under there, I would stay under there.
That sounds like a really good place to end this conversation. We're definitely going to have another 52 conversation, I think. There's lots of witches.
I can't hear you.
I'm going to use that as the space to end this conversation with the under the water, and we'll definitely have to have another conversation. It's been really, really interesting, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us and share some stories and insight to you.
Thank you for inviting me because my spirit has taken to you, Janice, from ever since I met you on that day with the gentleman you brought into the studio, Jamie. And even Jamie, it is almost like our spirits just touched, like, like your brain has little sparks that just,
that's it.
And I thought, who are these people? And I've been following you ever since, really. And you've been following me. And any chance I get to invite you in to speak about your craft and so it's always been my pleasure. So I hope we have a long-lasting friendship.
We will for sure. We will for sure. You have a beautiful rest of the day and enjoy the sunshine.
You too. You enjoy your day too. Peace, love, and light.
Okay, you too. Take care. Thanks, Natalie. Thank you.
Bye.